Hey there YouTube, this is Mr. Budget coming with an updated deck profile on my starter deck, Oselargest. Now, set 6 had just passed, but funny enough, he got some support in set 6, which made him 10 times better. This deck has gone from a 4 attack deck to finally a 5 attack deck without needing the red OT to get that 5th attack out, and the numbers are great. This version of the deck does not play the grade 1 promo, but eventually I will get my hands on it and then it will bump up the value of the deck. But as you saw my last video, this is a return to format, return to tradition on the deck, but also bumping up the quality of the deck and giving a bit more flavor. So I'm just going to hop right into it. If you guys saw my other videos, I'll put a link somewhere in here so you can see those previous versions of the deck. But this is the updated set 6 versus version of Cruel Beast Demonic Lord Oselargest. So, of course, the ride line has not changed. We are still going with one Oselargest in the ride line. We are still playing one Nirabachiro in the grade 2 spot of the ride line. We are still playing Balancer. And, of course, we're still using Desired Devil as our ride line. Again, these cards will not change. They are the best suited cards for this ride line going forward. And just no other ride line better suits this version of the deck. Okay, of course, we're still staying with 3 grade 3s of the Vanguard. This, for all those purposes and tenses, you all know that starter decks, they all have the same ability. They can counterblast 1 to search out copies of themselves to gain themselves 10k power. That way, in your next turn, you have Persona Right on deck. But, funny enough, he has cards in his deck that allow you to return him to the bottom of their deck to do plus skills. So, not keeping that card in your hand for the next turn by putting it either in your drop or in your soul to be used in a different way also benefits this deck, and I'll show you how we do that later down the road. We are, like I said, we're returning to format. We're playing 3 copies of Tildal, his original grade 3 support unit, just to gain numbers. The reason why I went back to this is because I found out with the new cards, there's just too much counterblast in the deck. I usually like to keep my units who use counterblast to maybe 1 or 2 cards. Using the dragon from the previous style of the deck, bumped it up to 3. So I had to maintain 3 counterblasts just to do my full turn, which I'd rather maintain 2, which makes things a lot easier. So until we find a way to get around that, maybe some easier counter charging in the deck, but until then, we're going to have to go back to Tildar. And speaking of counter charging, we're also still playing 3 copies of Helline Ferment Rage. Weird word. We're only using this card for the first line of the text, which is discard a card and countercharge a card. So this is how you get your Oselargest or other cards into the drop zone that you're going to need, and it pays you back with a countercharge. And it's also being a grade 3 Dark States card in the drop zone, so other cards can benefit from that being there. Okay, those are all of our grade 3s. Going into our grade 2s, we're playing 4 copies of Half Beast Demonic Spearman Satagoris. Satagoris is our new card from set 6. This card changes the entire playstyle of this deck for the better. Satagoris has the continuous ability as long as your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater Oselargest, he gets plus 5k. Then during the battle phase, as long as your Vanguard is Oselargest, of course, when a card is placed on top of him and he is retired, during the battle phase, you may counterblast 1, call a card from your soul that's not him to another rearguard circle. So not only that, Oselargest makes the 4th attack, he now permits the 5th attack in your turn. Great card. I would just say to make this card a little bit better was that once you do that skill, you get to draw a card. I would say that would make the deck make the card a million times better. But if that was the case, this probably wouldn't be as cheap as it is. But great card. We're still playing 3 copies of Amazing Frost. This is another way for us to get our cards that we need in our soul for when Oselargest wants to proc them off. You're never going to get the power bump. I'm just sorry. There's not enough soul charging in this deck to get the additional 5k, not anywhere close to getting the 10k. So this is always going to be just a cycle card for you to get a card, for you to draw a card, get a card into the soul, and just be a 10k beater. We're also playing another card that came out of set 6. This is, I'm sorry about the glare. I wish I could do something about that. This is Headlong Skyhopper. This is a grade 2 10k unit, has the ability continuous. If 2 or more cards were moved into your soul, hold on a second, maybe, yep, perfect. So this area right here has the glare. If 2 or more cards were moved into your soul this turn, he gets a continuous +5. And then at the end of the turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, you may put him into your soul. So not only does he's a 15k beater, he also phantom fills the board. Now you're wondering, you haven't seen any cards that soul charge, maybe this one, but it only does one. How do we get cards into the soul? Well, that's where that's where our Pacific grade 1 comes in, but we're not there yet. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Servant Falkeisha. We all know what she does. She's one of the oldest and best Dark States grade 2 units. Simply put, grade 3 turn attack, put any card into your soul from your drop zone. She'll get 5k for each of that card's grade. So grade 3 into soul, she'll get +15. Those are all of our grade 2s. Next, we're going to go right into the grade 1s. These are where tech options can be put, but right now there's only space for one tech option. You can either play the grade 1 promo that works with Tilgon, that allows you to put that entire column into your soul to draw 2 cards, or you can play 4 copies of Steam Performer Tudor. This is a retirement option for the deck. Tudor has the ability, during your turn, at the end of the battle, that she boosted if a card was called from your soul. This turn, you may retire her and send 1 copy of your Vanguard to the bottom of your deck. Choose either opponent's, choose either your Vanguard or your opponent's Vanguard, and move one of those Vanguards into the soul. So this way you can pick things off of your opponent's board if you want, or you can target Tudor and draw a card. Now, this is the option that I'm going for right now, only because I don't have the promo. I would rather have a +2 draw, to be honest with you, but regardless, this is a really good option. Now, the next card that came out of set 6 is Bogli Puppy. This is Oselargest grade 1 booster. This says when it boosts Oselargest, you may soul blast 1 card. And then whatever grade that you do not have in your soul, you may choose up to 2 cards in your drop zone of that grade and move it to your soul. So let's say you soul blast a grade 2, you have no more 2s in your soul. You may now move 2 grade 2s from your drop into your soul. This is a good way to know what's in there, having exactly what you want in your soul. And also, it does trigger Hopper's ability to have 2 more cards being placed into the soul this turn, so it can get its power. Only thing about this card I would say, well, again, will make it better if it got +5k when it boosts the Vanguard. Like all the other boosters that came, like for Varga or Raziel, all those other grade 1 that come with those decks that specifically look for that Vanguard and become 13k boosters, I would wish this became a 13k booster, just that way it can make proper numbers on the Vanguard circle. At max right now, we can make 41,000 on the Vanguard circle. I would like to bump that up to 46,000 just to make things a bit harder for my opponent. And then last but not least, we are playing 4 PGs. You may swap one of these out for the Order PG if you like so. Okay, that is all of the cards in the main deck. Outside of the triggers, first we're going to go, we're returning the format. We'll go back to Dark States Over Trigger, that way, because we don't need to make 5 attacks anymore. We can just do that whenever we want to. We're running 7 crit, 4 heal, and 4 draw PG. Again, we need to see pieces in our hand, and having extra shield value does matter in the long run. This is the entirety of the deck for Oselargest up to date for set 6. I will be posting a updated fight video showcasing how this deck works and what numbers look like on the board in an actual game very, very soon. Funny enough, because of this new grade 2, because of Satogoris, there's a funny thing that you can do in premium with this deck, but the reason why we can't do it yet is because we do not have the Coral grade 3 for Oselargest. It's saving the card name is Saving Everyone from Oselargest. I forgot the character's name, but that card does have Oselargest in its card name, and it does not run off of energy like Oselargest does. So having that grade 3, if you ever do get it in the English format, would allow you to play these cards in premium. allowing you for something like Dark States to get a 5 attack turn with 2 Vanguard swings, with both Vanguards attacking for triple drive, because that card's ability is when it attacks counterblast 1, move one of your rear guards into your soul, and then call a different grade from the card moved into your soul to rear guard circle, and then it gets triple drive. So by allowing you to go 1, 2, 3 into soul, call out 4, 5, and then 6 with another Vanguard swing with the 4th act stride. So you get 6 drive checks in a turn and 6 attacks in Dark States. With columns, in Dark States can reach very high numbers. I just need that grade 3 to come out in English, and then I will immediately do a Oselargest Dark Irregulars deck profile, and who knows how crazy that will get. But until then, we don't know yet. But look, I hope that we get that in the new Core set coming out in English very soon. But until then, this has been Mr. Budget saying, keep it fun, keep it friendly, and as always, keep it budget. Look out for my next videos coming in a couple of days. And as always, we will see you guys here next time. Peace.